The brothers Terry are family. Sadly, that does not mean they are family friendly. This podcast almost certainly contains language that will offend their mother, and probably yours. Sorry, moms. Also, their opinions that you probably don't care about may or may not be shared by those who sponsor this podcast.
Steven is not here. We haven't seen Steven in like 2 months. I hope he's at least eating. Haven't seen him. If you see him wandering around on the street or whatever, just let
Give
him
him
know.
$1 and let him know.
Yeah, his backups. It's getting thin. You know, you're digging deep into the bullpen at this point, and
So he's not there to cue the theme song for us, but today we have here Rob, who is like a brother. So he's sticking with that no time like bro time theme, because we're pretty close in age.
yeah. I mean, you know, your Mormon win, right?
Yeah,
That's
right,
usually
with
how that
your
works.
uncle who's brother age.
I went to high school with my nieces and nephews, right? My oldest sister could literally be my mother. So, yeah, you know, you're from Utah when that happens.
That's right. So Uncle Brother Rob's here to give us the cue the theme song.
Yeah. With that said, cue that theme song.
Oh, that's
That
good.
was good.
That's sold to me.
That's a good voice.
Every ear in America just like tuned in so hard to that.
Every panty, mine, down, drop.
All right.
So
well-
wait, where's the theme song?
Oh no. Pulling back the curtains a little bit. It's a little less exciting on this side of the table, isn't it? You don't get to
I
hear
thought
all
the guy was in here. Where's the guy that talks about this isn't family friendly? I'm
Yeah.
confused.
deep voice guy. He doesn't show up every week for us.
Sorry, moms.
He's the best. I love that.
That's
guy.
awesome.
All right. Well, I'm the oldest brother, Jamie, and my hair color is a dark, deep chocolate brown.
Oh, me next.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I'm Russ. I'm the youngest brother, and my hair was blonde, and now it's more brown blonde. I don't know. Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
What?
I can't see my own hair.
Yeah.
Was brown blonde? I don't know. Is my favorite color actually. It doesn't fit on the Crayola crayon, so
Yeah.
they couldn't put it in the box. But
I was at the store just the other day, and there was the hair dyeing kit, and it was that exact color. So, good job.
Sweet.
So I'm pretty sure this is already meant to be a dig at me because I'm bald. So, I have no hair color, and thank you for the reminder. My hair color is translucent scalp.
I was gonna say sunburnt.
Yeah. Doesn't it always look sunburned?
It does.
I get sunburnt sitting indoors. It's horrible.
Those fluorescent light bulbs, man.
Ugh, I need to put a tube on. It just needs.
I
It needs to
asked
happen.
Alicia, what should our physical trait be today? And she said hair length. I said, no, it's too easy. Okay, we'll go with color. It's a little more subtle.
Yeah, a little more subtle, but still hurts.
And I can't wait until season 2 when we have to stop using physical traits to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, what are you guys gonna go to at that point?
Well, that's a surprise. So you, Rob, you're a listener of the show.
I am
and
faithful
so-
listener, except for the last episode, which I haven't had a chance to hear yet, and Russell rubbed in my face.
Yeah. The kind-hearted Russ over here.
Thanks for your support.
Yeah, thanks for the support. Faithful listener, my ass. Only a semi-fan.
That's correct. Yes. Not fully dedicated, apparently.
Thanks for listening to last episode, everybody. I wanted to double down that the bee blood is real. The second the episode ended, and I was walking Jesse out and saying bye. Yeah, he was going to get in his car, and a wasp in the bush fucking darted out right at me, and I had to bolt back inside. I was like, "See, it's true. It's not fake." And I had to shut the door, and I didn't even say bye. He had to just leave.
Is that in the visitor parking area?
No, he was even in our driveway.
Wow. Because I almost got stung in your visitor parking area. I don't know who decided to plant that bush there. But hey, right where people are getting out of their car, let's put a thing that attracts 8,000 bees right here.
You need the bee bush right by the...
Very welcoming.
You remember what I told you when I left? That day after recording?
Yeah, I wanted you to tell the audience.
There was a bee on my window of my truck. Next to that bush, I'm thinking we're talking about the same bush. I was over in visitor parking.
Uh-huh.
I got in, closed the door, the bee tried to roll up the
Yep.
window so it doesn't come in, but it was in.
They knew you were talking about him.
terry blood like attracts bees, and it started to spread to our listeners. Because I got a story from she's a friend of the show here, Chanel, and she was saying she was listening to the podcast while she was grocery shopping, and she was really enjoying it, hearing all the bee stories. But when she parked, I parked at my place after grocery shopping. I loaded up my arms in preparation to climb the stairs with all the groceries. And you line up on your arms as you do, because you got to take one trip. That's just funny in itself. You can't just go back and forth.
You can all agree with that, right?
You got to just line your arms.
God forbid
with
you go
those
2 trips, right?
Never. So it's in preparation to climb to my 3rd floor condo, and no joke, an asshole wasp looked me dead in the face and decided to take flight off of the asphalt and beeline for my face, pun intended. Now imagine trying to defend yourself with grocery bag arms. I just want to rewind the film of life and watch what happened while not experiencing it, because that was awful. It was probably my fault for listening to your podcast and taunting the universe while you guys were bashing bees.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was a great story. Just the thought of someone trying to punch off a bee with grocery arms and running up the stairs.
Probably a great way to exercise.
Yeah.
So in Central California, where we live, we have a couple acres, and right across from us is another property about that same size. And the property owner there, or friend of the property owner, does beekeeping, right? So they have all their bee boxes and everything out there. And Evan was just enamored. Evan is my youngest son. For those of you that don't know me, which is everyone, except for the two in this room, Evan was like enamored with these bee boxes, and he just wanted to know what they were. And when we told him there's bees in there, he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing ever!" And so for a couple months, he really got into beekeeping with the person across the street, until a couple bees got up into his suit and stung him, right? And so now to this day, he's like, absolutely hates bees.
Done with bees.
Yeah, he's gonna love the episode. I'm a responsible parent. I don't let my child listen to this episode. Yep.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm convinced that that bees hate the world.
Yeah,
And
they mostly hate Terry's.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the beekeeper was like, "Oh, I never get stung," and Evan was like stung all over the place. Yeah,
Multiple
so,
stings.
I would agree with that. It's got to be a
something in
Terry
the blood.
thing. You know what it is? It's the amount of sugar that we ingest. It's like straight. It's no work for them. Like, I don't have to take anything back to the queen. I don't have to process honey. It just comes out in straight honey right from these guys. That's what.
See, I was thinking it was the cheese, and they're trying to get drunk off the dairy inside our blood or something. That's how I put it. It ferments inside of us, and then they come and sting us, and it gets into them somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're addicted. I gotta have a hit. Gotta have another hit.
Oh, I do eat a shitload of cheese.
Me too.
Yeah.
Anyways, so today's episode, we're talking about youth mischief and pranks. Because I know we like to prank each other a lot, and so we do have a few of those stories. And I don't know, I thought it'd be really good for Uncle Rob, because you've been there for a lot of those. You've been the instigator for a lot of pranks as well.
Yeah.
The ultimate prank, though, I wanted to start off with the ultimate prank story we had, because it is the most harmless, and yet it was the most rage-inducing prank ever.
For years.
Yeah, we moved in when we moved into this cul-de-sac that our parents live in, Linden. So when I was in 2nd grade. So this is about the time it started, when I was, I don't know, maybe 5th grade, 6th grade. We were looking at the dead end sign in our cul-de-sac, and my dad was like, you can change just 2 letters on that sign, and you'll make it say something funny. And we were like, what do you mean? Said, just take those 2 D's in dead and turn them into R's. We're like, well, what is it? Oh, rear end. It says rear end. We thought it was so funny. We're just little kids giggling at it. We thought it was hilarious. And so we didn't realize that you could actually do it with electrical tape.
Yeah.
So we went and took some electrical tape and made those 2 D's into R's. So it said rear end, and every day we would pass it, we would just laugh and laugh.
For years.
Yeah, it was so funny to us. And again, I was just a little kid. But then as we grew up in the neighborhood, we just kept doing it as people would take it down. Mm-hmm. And then the whole neighborhood would just get so pissed. I don't know who it was. Do you know who it was, Russ, that was taking them down?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the people that lived on the end of the street that had the sign, I guess,
Yeah.
on the corner of their property.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who I think it was.
Yeah, it was an older couple, and they did not like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at least the people that I hung out with, my 3 friends in the cul-de-sac, they loved it.
Of
Oh,
course.
dude.
We all kept doing it.
It was perfect.
Oh yeah.
It was absolutely perfect. And that's funny that you'd say. I always thought that was Steven, that because he's always been creative, right? Very, very creative. I assumed that it was him, but of course that makes perfect sense that it would be Kurt.
Yeah,
Yep.
that started
Fully
it.
knowing I can't do that because that's a misdemeanor. Right? That's destruction of public property.
Make the kids
But
do
if
it.
I have my kids do it, I can easily explain to the officer, "Stupid kids, I'm sorry about that." That is awesome.
Anytime it would come down, it'd be
Still
like,
goes up.
Gosh dang it, we've got to put that.
Yeah.
So it became like a chore at one
Yeah,
point.
like, oh, it's
Yeah.
down
gotta
again.
Put the rear end
Yeah.
sign back.
Now, here's the magical part about that was we never saw the person who took it down. So I wonder if they ever saw the people that put it
Who
up.
was putting it
Right? Like,
Yeah.
did they feel the same way? Like, I just took that down. How is it reappearing again?
And in Utah, rear end, that's offensive.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
that's
absolutely.
maximum.
Absolutely.
There's people that's just giving people the wrong idea.
Yes. Yep. And they'll take it some crazy weird way too. It could be like, "Oh man, that's a pain in my rear end." No, it's got to be like, that's sexual.
It's some deviant term.
Yes, absolutely.
And so for 20 years, that sign, and I've decided that when we go over family dinner tonight, I'm putting it back. I'm absolutely doing it.
Well, as my older son would say, pick or it didn't happen. So,
Oh.
yep,
You'll see pics.
absolutely.
But it won't be us.
No.
But we didn't do
It'll
it.
be some
we
other
didn't do it.
deviant.
Yeah.
If anyone asks, we make the kids do it.
That's correct. Yeah, we got enough nieces and nephews. We can get
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
to do
There's
this.
plenty. There's hundreds of them. You'll never know who it was. Thanks, Utah families.
Yep.
Well, one of my favorite though prank stories is with actually Uncle Rob. I don't know. He started this whole series called. I'll let you take it away. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's your deal.
in all honesty, I don't even know how it started. I think we just all kind of realized that as the youngest one in the family, it was really easy to mess with Russell.
Yeah.
And he's so like just kind and unassuming, right? You
just
could just
chill.
yeah, you could totally just have fun with him, and he would just kind of be like, yeah, right? So yeah, I mean, it started with just stupid stuff. Like as soon as you had phones that could like record anything, right? It was like, oh, we've got to do something stupid with it, right? So I think the very first one that we did, I just come busting into your room and I'm just wailing on you for no reason.
Yeah, I was
right?
sitting on my bed.
Yeah,
Minding
Just
my own damn
minding
business.
your own business, completely not stoned or anything. Yeah,
At first, you walked in and you were just kind of wailing on him, but then you had a towel and you started whipping him
Yeah.
with the towel, right?
yeah. But I think the best part about that video to this day for me is what he yells. Do you remember what he yells?
Oh yeah, it's
The posters on my wall part
So-
or the
so you-
Charlie part?
No, you go. Oh yeah, no. First you're like, Charlie, get away, because Charlie, of course, is defending you,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Love my pug.
She wouldn't be able to even make it into the room now. Poor thing would probably run into the wall.
In the backyard barking, trying to protect me.
Yeah, totally in the wrong
At the
direction.
wall.
But no, you yell. You had stuff that was up on your wall. That
Yeah,
a whole bunch
you
of
just
posters
love, yeah.
and
Lights.
And so, as you're trying to defend yourself in your high-pitched voice, you're like laugh screaming, and you're going, "Stop! You're hitting my wall stuff."
The welts will heal, but the wall stuff.
The wall
that's-
stuff,
That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
If that breaks, what do we do?
Right.
And for about 3 years, I had that as my ringtone.
Of course you did.
Dead serious. And so my phone would start ringing, and it'd stop! You're hitting my wall stuff. And people would look at me like,
what?
So I had to change it to something a little more recognizable so that people didn't think that I was even more weird than I really am. So that one, I think one of the other ones that we really, really loved was when you guys, the whole Terry family came out to California to visit us, and we went to Pismo Beach together. And was that your first time on the beach?
It was.
Okay, so he, of course, excited to like, oh man, let's dig a hole in the sand and I'll sit in it,
Yeah, that's
right?
what you do on the beach.
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah, sand castles and the whole 9 yards. And so Russell again, totally unassuming. We dig this huge hole and like, dude, sit in it and we'll bury you. And he thinks this is a great idea. This is like right out of a movie in California, right? Oh, this is so wonderful.
It'll be a great picture.
So we bury him all the way up to his neck, and he's sitting there, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, are you guys ready? Messing with Russell part 2, 3, whatever it was
Whatever
at that
the fuck
time.
it was
Yeah.
at the time.
And he's like, wait, and realizes I'm totally immobilized.
Yep.
But my face is exposed. And so I start taking just barrels full of sand and chucking them up in the air and letting them fall down on them as you're fighting to get out of the
Yeah.
sand. Oh, man.
Sand
that
is
just-
heavy.
Yeah, sand
I
sucks.
did not think it would be that hard.
I guarantee you were finding sand in like cracks and crevices for weeks after
Still.
that.
You're right. I was gonna say, what was that? 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago. And every once in a while, I'll be, oh, what's my butt
I
crack?
got a grain that's a pearl almost now.
No, we've had some good times.
How many
Yep.
how many messing with Russells were there though?
I thought we were like around 10.
I could have sworn we were 8.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
8 for some reason.
I think like officially on film we have 6, but I believe that there is like 8 to 10 total. But the last one that we got on film that we were saying was like 6 actually scared me for the safety of my life, and that was because Russell now has a better half, and the look that she gave me.
We were sitting there. I did think it was fishy that you went around to everybody to like offer them this shitty donut. Because normally we'll just go grab the damn donut if we want one.
And it's some random, like, it was like one single donut
One
cut up into like
cut up.
12 pieces.
At this, I knew something was going on, but I thought I'd entertain you.
What Terry eats a piece of a donut? That
Yeah.
should have been the
Exactly.
giveaway right there.
But I see her grab it, and then she popped it in her mouth. But I looked around, and I knew something was up. And so I just did it. I threw it in my mouth. But then, just like you said, I saw her face. And I enjoy mayo, so it wasn't that bad for me. I'll eat it plain. I don't care. I'll suckle it.
Apparently,
Doesn't
she
matter.
detests mayonnaise.
Oh yeah, she's not a big mayo fan.
She's gonna murder me in my sleep one day and get even for feeding you a mayonnaise donut.
You gotta clue her in, man.
Yeah.
She didn't care about me. She didn't give a shit about.
Oh,
that.
it's 'cause she ate it? Here, I thought she was being all protective of you, and she's
No,
just like, I
man.
hate mayonnaise. I'm
Nothing,
gonna kill you.
nothing with love. She just didn't want
No,
mayonnaise.
she just didn't want a mayonnaise-filled donut.
Now I know better.
Yeah, now we gotta.
She's got to be in on the messing with Russell.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
needs to happen. Okay.
If you're gonna make me feel sad, she wants to be a part of it. Yeah.
Make me feel sad. It's all about love. Come on now.
She
It's
wants
all
to be
about love.
picking on him. One messing with Russell story. It was just simple. One of my favorites. And you were just taking a shower.
Oh yeah.
No big deal. We were rushing. Of course, we were rushing to get somewhere, some
yeah.
family gathering. So we're all hurrying. And Russell's in the shower and trying to quickly get the shower done. And Rob fills up a whole bucket, like an ice water pitcher.
Yeah, it was our
With cubes and
yeah,
everything.
our
Oh
Kool-Aid
yeah.
picture, man.
Yeah.
Big old pitcher of water.
Yeah, that
Sneaks
had a
in
red stain around the top of the Kool-Aid picture. I'm not sure what that red Kool-Aid is from,
A
but
little bit of vodka reminiscent in there.
Couldn't tell you. I don't
But
remember.
you just dumped the whole pitcher over. It snuck in there and
Yeah.
just the scream.
yeah, yeah.
That was spot on.
And then at the very end, do you remember too? Ah, I hate you.
We might have to have some of these. If you still have the videos available,
I do.
We'll have to get them up for our Patreon subscribers.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I think you have them in store. You have them in storage, I think. So
yeah.
I won't make
If-
any
if-
promises because, like Disney, you like to lock these up in the vault, and they
That
only
is
come
correct.
out at certain.
Yes,
So
for a
when-
limited time only.
Yeah.
I'm like the Wendy's spicy nugget of messing with Russell,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Limited
and did you
time.
notice when they brought back the spicy nugget, it didn't say for a limited time only.
Yeah, that pissed
It
me
was
off.
like, we're back.
we were so excited.
And then about 2 weeks later, for a limited time only.
yeah,
You know,
they weren't prepared for the horde of
That
Terrys
bothers
that
me.
were eating the.
that bothers me. That offends me.
And it's offensive. So I wrote down my pranks that I did when I was a kid, and the only reason I wanted to talk about pranks for another episode when I knew Steven wouldn't be here, because he won't be able to look me in the eye and make me feel bad about this, because
Nice.
my pranks, they were like older brother pranks. These are huge air quotes I'm doing right now, because they weren't pranks. They were me just like
You were just
totally
being a
knocking
dick.
him around and being a total asshole. So I was in charge during the summer times and after school. I was in charge of making sure we did our chores, we did our homework, waiting for mom to get home. So I was old enough to be semi-responsible and, you know, watch over Steven and Russ. And so this one time we're doing homework after
Where
school.
were you with the Kool-Aid episode there, huh? Where'd you drop the ball on that one?
Well, that's all Steven. I'm gonna let him take credit for that one. That or I was out getting drunk too. No, I wasn't. No, so I had this brilliant idea. I don't know where I came up with it, but we have 3 sets of stairs coming up from our basement. You've one set of stairs, then you have a tile landing, it's just ceramic tiles, and then another set of stairs that goes all the way up to the top floor. And so I told Steven, all right, it's homework time. We're going to do homework for 15 minutes. And then after this 15 minutes is up, I have a surprise for you. It's going to be our surprise for finishing homework. We did so well. We've earned it, right? So I'm getting them all jazzed about this prize. Probably told them it was a cheeseburger because we go nuts for those at our house. So anyways, I set this timer. I say, when you hear this timer go off, I want you to bolt upstairs. The faster you come, you get your first choice at whatever the prizes are. He's like, okay. So he goes downstairs. He starts reading his book, doing his homework, and I grease the floor of that tile landing. I put a whole bunch, I think it was butter or Crisco, something slippery.
Like cooking oil.
Yeah, I put it all over the floor right there. And so I'm just giggling watching this timer. I'm like, holy shit, 15 minutes is really long to just sit here and stare at a timer. So I speed it up a little bit. Maybe 4 minutes had passed, so I don't know why he thought 15 minutes was done as well. So I make the timer go off, and so he comes booking it up the stairs. He hits that landing, and just his feet come out from it. And so he is like totally eating shit on that landing. And it just sounded like a sack of meat just hitting that floor. And I was just busting up laughing. I thought it was the funniest damn thing. And the poor guy is just in pain and reeling and crying on the floor. And then it's that cry where it's like, it's not the I'm annoyed cry or angry cry. It's the I'm actually hurt crying.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
in
then
pain.
it went from hilarity on my end to don't tell mom, you're okay. You're okay. Now I'm trying to console him and
Now
make
it's
sure that
self-preservation.
yeah. Shit, I'm in big trouble. He had like a bruise on his hip and
Did you ever think, like, how am I going to clean this up before mom gets home?
no, you don't ever think
No,
that far ahead in the
You
prank.
totally don't. You totally don't. Yeah. I remember when I was living with Mike and Debbie. I lived with them for a little while when I was later in high school, right? And one day I was taking a drive with their son, Derek. I don't even know if he'll remember this. And I was still at that age where I just like to do stupid
Dumb shit.
crap for
Yeah.
no reason.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think about it. It's just funny. You do it. So we were in one of the, I believe one of the work trucks. I don't think it was one of their trucks. It was one of the work trucks for the construction company that Mike and I were both working for at that time. And for whatever reason, I convinced Derek, hey, take off your seatbelt and kind of like sit up a little bit closer. I think I told him like, hey, listen, do you hear that in the radio? Right? And as soon as he like takes off the seatbelt and leans up, I hit the brakes so that he just like hits the dashboard, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's the funniest thing at all. Totally not thinking when I get home, Mike is going to show me how funny that was to do that to his kid, right? And yeah, that definitely happened. Yeah, so I don't know why we did that kind of crap.
I don't know what it is about hurting someone else that's so funny.
And you know what? I'd love to say, oh man, I really regretted that. It's not funny, but it's still so funny.
The other massive prank I had was also, unfortunately, on Steven, is I told him I had a secret, and I can do this thing where I can pop gum really loud when I'm like, just like not blowing out, but just like sucking in for whatever reason. It just sounds weird to say sucking in, so I didn't want to say it, but it's out there now. So I'm sucking in on my gum, and it just makes this really loud pop sound, like it's jet engine decibel worthy. And I was like, dude, come here. I'm going to tell you something. I don't want anyone else to hear. Come here.
I'm gonna give you a secret.
So I cut my hands over his ears, and I just, as loud as I can. And I thought it was so funny. He's probably deaf in his left ear now.
His ears are bleeding.
Yeah, I don't even know if he remembers that. So again, I waited to tell this story till he couldn't be here. So
now he has a less than functional eye and ear. Yeah. Thanks a lot,
but
dude.
it's on the same side, so that's why he's always tilting his head. Like both sides are just.
Yeah, whenever I want to mess with him, I just make sure I'm standing on one side.
Yeah,
Right?
you just gotta get. You gotta
He
get
can't
the
hear
bad
me.
side.
He can't
doesn't
see
know.
me. It doesn't even matter.
You
If,
ever-
if your mom's around, she can't smell me. I mean, this is golden.
You can be so stealthy around us without even trying.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Don't worry, mom can't smell, but
But
dad
Dad
can. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I don't know what it is about me thinking pranks was just fucking beating the shit out of Steven for whatever reason.
But
I'm
where
lucky
did
he's
we
alive?
Where did we all get this from? We all know where like the need to be just funny and sarcastic and that we all know where it comes from, right?
Comes from Kurt. Comes from our dad.
Yep, absolutely. So there is, I believe that Kurt is 16 years older than me. I want to
Sounds
say
right.
it is 15 or 16 years. And so you would think that with that age spread that we wouldn't have really been too close or whatnot. But Kurt, from as far back as I can remember, has like absolutely been my hero, right? As I know he is for you guys too. But I know for me, it absolutely started when Kurt one day had an old school tape recorder, and he calls me up in his room one day and he's like, "Hey Rob, come here, we need to do something." Or Robbie. It's to this day I get called Robbie by my sisters, which makes me feel like 3 years old, but okay. So he's
Out
like,
of love.
Robbie, come here. I think it's out of patronizing, but it's okay. Yeah, I can say love, it'll make me feel better. So, come here, we need to do something. So every time I point at you, say mom. Okay, right? It's like, it's my hero, tell me to do something. Yeah, okay. So he points at me. Mom. Maybe 20, 30 times. Right?
You were how old?
Maybe 4.
Okay.
Maybe, right? But just over and over. Mom. So in Utah, when we were growing up, we lived in a split level home, which was, real standard type of design for that time. So you would walk in, and on the right side would be stairs to go, 3 or 4 stairs down into a family room area, or 3 or 4 stairs up to bedroom areas that are right above that. And then if you go right around the corner from that, there's a couple more stairs down that would go into like your quasi basement, which is typically where your laundry room and everything was, right? So your heater vents and your ducting would kind of connect those various levels. So if you were upstairs in a bedroom, you could like talk into the floor vent, and a lot of times even see the room down below, right?
Yeah.
So my mom was downstairs doing laundry, and Kurt takes this tape recorder, turns it upside down on the air vent, and hits play. And it's just, Mom. Yes, honey. Anybody who knows my mom knows. Little Southern Belle, right? She's all uber patient, right? So, Mom. Yes, honey. Mom. Yes, dear. Mom. What do you need, sweetheart? Just over and over.
And she has the patience of a saint, so
absolutely. It gets to maybe the 8th or 9th time. Robert, what do you need? Right? Mom, what? Mom, what do you want? She finally got mad and started screaming. Now, I remember sitting there watching Kurt, having really no idea what was going on. But Kurt is like in the fetal position on the floor laughing, right? But laughing quietly, because if Mom hears, she's going to know something's going on, right? And seeing that reaction from my brother, honestly, like set me for the rest of my life, like, okay, that was awesome. I want to laugh like that my whole life, right? And so, yeah, it always comes from Kurt. I think that Kurt has probably taught all of us the art of humor. I mean, obviously, rear end,
right?
and he gets the kids to do it. Come on.
But I feel like I missed some vital piece of how to prank, because those are harmless. They're hilarious and harmless. And I'm like making my brother deaf.
No.
He could have busted a leg. I
No,
don't
no.
know.
You see, you got exactly what it was. You just elected to go with the physical harm, and Kurt's was all emotional. My mom is likely traumatized by that story. That's like Nolan's car wreck. When you bring that story up to my mom, right? The immediate reaction every time is, oh, dear. I mean, she still remembers it like it happened yesterday. I think it still bothers her to this very day. Yeah, and so...
And he had another great Kurt story I love is, speaking of emotional trauma, this is what would have emotionally traumatized me if he would have done it to us. But I think it was Gail or Tanya. they had a piece of toast.
Oh, the toast.
Yeah. And George, she had a piece of toast, I should say.
Yeah.
And
It was Gail.
so it was Gail. So he
And
says-
it wasn't just toast, not to subvert your story. It was cinnamon toast.
Okay, yeah.
So do you remember how difficult this was before you had things that could make anything in your kitchen fairly easy? You had to use the stove for everything.
Yeah.
So to make cinnamon toast took like 20 minutes of effort to make a piece of cinnamon and sugar toast.
I'm going to let you tell it.
Oh no, I think you'll probably tell it better.
No, I really do think you will.
Okay, all right. Sorry to steal your thunder.
No,
there.
go for it. This is why you're here.
Yeah, so Gail makes it, and Gail was an amazing cook, right?
Yeah.
So she put like significant effort into everything that she cooked. So I wouldn't be surprised if she put like 30, 40 minutes into this cinnamon toast that was probably perfectly caramelized around the edges and everything, because that's just the way that she rolled. So she had made this toast, and Kurt comes walking into the kitchen and says, "Man, that looks really good. Can I have some?" And she's like, "No." And Kurt's like, "Please." Okay, fine, one bite. And so Kurt's like, "Awesome, thank you so much." Thinking for sure he'd pick it up, take one bite, set it back down. So he picks up her piece of toast, folds it in half one way, folds it in half the second way, takes one bite so that everything out of the middle is now gone and it's nothing but crust, and sets the crust back on the plate. And turns around and walks away. And Gail, of course, just kind of sat there like, I hate my life. Yeah, and I think the best part about that, though, is years later when we were asking Kurt about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, I just had a huge meal, too. Like, I wasn't even hungry." He just did it to mess with her. Yeah.
See, that's the art of the prank right
It is.
there. Man, I bet that was so good, because Gail is a great cook. She even
Oh,
has
yeah.
a cookbook out there, and I know she's been working on another. I'm gonna request that she put in, we'll call it Kurt Toast.
Oh, dude, absolutely. It'll be just like what you do with the leftover crust.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
In the middle of our episodes, I'm gonna start saying, if we have a commercial, this is where I'm gonna put it. So, for listeners, if we have a commercial, this is where I'm gonna put it. There you go. That was a
And
production
wait, you got
thing.
to pause for dramatic effect, though.
There it is.
There we
There's
go.
the
There it was.
dramatic
Yeah, there it was.
Yeah, I don't know why I wasted my breath saying that, though, because who the hell is going to be brave enough to advertise on this podcast?
Their opinions that you probably don't care about may or may not be shared by those who sponsor this podcast.
Well, Russell, you had a couple things written down here. Which
Who typed this?
Jamie did.
Russell drived the truck? Oh my goodness.
here's what happens. So when we're making these notes for our shows,
So, you know,
we're generally drunk, sitting around, trying to decipher each other's story, while some
Russell drived the truck. Russell drived the truck into a person while on drugs with suspension on his license. Now, for those of you that have never seen a picture of Russell's license, I'm assuming what would have been your license at that time. Yeah?
Yes.
your license picture.
Oh, we've got to post that.
Yeah, that's
With
good.
my,
Oh my-
with my hair everywhere.
Oh yeah, and that
Okay.
smile on your face, like
Goofy
it's
like.
like half laugh. I'm not sure what was going on there. Was somebody making you giggle? Is that what was happening?
She kept telling me to re-smile because I kept doing like the, and she wouldn't take it. For those of you, I do a V face. That's what we call it. Well, that's what I call it.
We need to post that as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that one's important.
But
They-
she
they
kept
need to
every
see.
time I make a
Tune
face,
in
she'd-
for the V face, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
We'll put that picture right next to the one of Russell and Hillary Clinton together, which is still one of my all-time favorite pictures. Yeah.
That is a good picture.
Yeah.
It really does resemble me.
It totally does.
It does. It is scary.
Yeah, but unlike him, you did inhale. So
Yeah.
No question there.
No question. But for the story though,
Yeah, translate this whatever we were trying to say here.
so yeah, everybody, as I'm sure everybody knows, I used to do drugs back in the day, and I had my license suspended because getting caught with drugs, and I had to get to work one day, and nobody could take me, and so I got into my truck and I started driving down the road, and there was a friend that I worked with that I saw in front of me, and her name was Teddy. And as the light turned green, we were turning left, and we didn't have a green arrow. But to play a prank on her, I honked the horn, and apparently it scared her. And so she quickly drove, but as the light was turning yellow, I wanted to stay caught up with her, and so I thought, oh, the car's coming towards me would slow down because it was yellow, and so I started to go, and I hit some guy, but I was on drugs at the time, and I think I drank the night before.
In my defense,
Yeah,
I think I was still drunk.
Wait, let me explain this. I was really being responsible.
You see, Your Honor.
The worst part about this is the guy that I hit was driving home from picking his car up from the shop.
Oh,
He had just got it back.
that's
Damn.
terrible.
And
Well-
I put it right back. He actually called him and turned around and drove right back.
to make it more terrible, I'm now less interested in this story because I thought you were talking about hitting like a pedestrian and not another vehicle.
Oh no.
So, oh man, this is gonna be good. He hit someone, and what are we about to find out? Russell committed a murder while he was on drugs with a suspended license and drove away. But no, you just ruined his newly fixed vehicle.
Newly fixed vehicle and ruined my life. But it's better now.
Oh, is that where you had your license taken and everything?
Well, I had it suspended, and then they took it for longer. I think like a year.
How does that work? They just take it out of your hand. And they're like, now you can't drive.
I don't know. I think they just in the system. Nope.
Sounds about right.
Can't drive.
Nope.
That's all it
That's
says.
awesome.
But I
Russell
lost,
Terry. Nope.
Hang on a second. Nope.
I lost the insurance for me and our parents. That sucked. They kicked mom and dad off their insurance. They'd been with them for years, but I was too much of a liability for them. I screwed their life over. Sorry, mom. Sorry, dad.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what was your dad's response to that?
Oh, like when I called him and told him?
Yeah.
Well, at first he said, "No, you didn't." So I was like, "No, I did." I don't remember what he said after that. I just remember him going, "Call your mother."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the classic Terry dad response right there. Call your mom.
Call your mom.
Yep. But mom was also busy. Friends at the time came and picked me up. We had to drive the truck home, but I had bent the front bumper so bad that every time I would turn, it would on the tire. And I couldn't afford a tow truck at the time, and so I had to just drive, and my tire was messed up a little bit.
Well, that's because you'd spend all your money on drugs and alcohol.
Here I was getting ready to make fun of you for hitting someone, but I actually have hit someone in my truck. Have I ever told you the story?
In the red truck or the one truck you had after that?
My Ford, my 150. Yeah, like my big old. It was a 150, so it was big for me coming from a little Tacoma, but I was looking left because I was turning right, so I was making sure traffic on the left was clear so I could turn, but I wasn't looking to my right because I wasn't looking for oncoming traffic the opposite direction. But you should always look to your right and left before you go any direction.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that is what they taught in school, but we all know how much I went to the school.
Clearly, because Russell drives the truck. Shout out to your high school GED right there.
No, so I'm looking left, turning right, didn't look right, traffic was clear. So I started to go. And so as I start to accelerate while still looking left, I then start looking right to see where I'm going and realize there's a person in front of me. And it was some little angry dude. Of course he was angry, justifiably angry dude.
Yeah.
And,
And little in your big 150. Some
yeah.
little angry
well,
guy.
that's true. He barely did just come over the hood of the car.
Was it a
so-
child?
No, it was just a really short guy.
Oh.
But he was so pissed. So I got out of the truck. I'm like, oh my! I didn't like run him over completely. The
Just a
bumper.
little bit.
Yeah, it obviously scared the shit out of him. I didn't run him over a lot. I just ran him over a little.
Just a little.
In the margin of getting ran over, you want it to be a little. You don't
Yeah.
want to be run over a
Just
lot.
a little, Your Honor.
Just rub some dirt on it. You're fine.
But no, I'd only started to go, so it did just bump him out of the crosswalk area, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Do you need me to take you to the hospital? Or like, yeah, take me to the hospital, bro. God damn, just take me to the fucking hospital. That'll just fix it. And he was just
Really?
he was so mad. I was like, okay, like get in. I'm not getting in with you. Yeah, I'm gonna sue you. It's like, okay, do you want? And I'm like a moron. Do you want my information? Like I'm offering this
I help
guy,
you?
like, can I help you get a hold of my my lawyer so that you can sue me? Like, I'm just so
My insurance company? Wait, I don't have one anymore. I just got kicked off my mom and dad's because of Russell.
But that was he rubbed his arm and then he ran off and just flipping me off the whole time. And it was very strange. I've never felt more bad in my entire life. But ever since then, I've been very attentive.
Yeah, yeah. Now you look left and right 16 times before you go.
Alicia's just like, just go.
Which, the intersection out by your house here, you have the opportunity to look left and right at least 45 times each direction.
Yes.
Because cars are queued back for at least 20 minutes.
Yep.
So, yeah, UDOT fail on that one.
Massive
Yeah,
UDOT
absolutely.
fail. So all of our listeners from UDOT, please just put a light
Yeah,
there.
just stay
Please.
off of Lehigh Main Street if you're, a driver, and UDOT, fix it.
Yeah.
Please.
Amen.
That reminds me of a story when I was in high school. So when I was a sophomore in high school back in like 18 something, I don't remember. I was driving with my girlfriend at the time, whose dad was a dentist, and so she had like a pretty nice car, a classic spoiled teenage kid, right?
Nice.
So she was driving. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and she comes pulling up to this intersection and not paying attention as we're going to make a right turn, like just goes way into the crosswalk just in time for a kid to come flying off the sidewalk on his bicycle to go through the crosswalk. Hits the side of her car.
Oh, no.
And flies all the way over her car and lands in the intersection, right? Jumps up immediately, runs over to the car, opens the back door, and gets in, holding his arm, which is clearly snapped in half, and says, "I broke my arm. I need you to take me to the hospital." Dead serious.
Damn.
I will never forget the look on that kid's face, because we're both like, oh my gosh, what do we do, right? So we took him to the hospital.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Did you get his bike?
Yeah.
Right? I
No,
don't know why
he-
that was my thought. Like, what's his bike?
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Oh, no.
No, he had a friend with him, and the friend, as he like got into the car and we started to drive away, he was yelling to his friend, "Take my bike home." Yeah, dead serious. And this type of crap, this happens to you, like it's always happens in your teenage years, right? Or your young 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
You get these type of experiences, and in those moments, obviously you're there and you remember them, but you don't realize how like crazy
Yeah, just how
that type of stuff
insane.
is until you're a little bit older, and then you realize like, oh my gosh, did that actually happen? That's crazy. Yeah. So I'd be so curious to know whatever happened to that guy, because we dropped him at the hospital and left.
That is so crazy.
It was like, open the door. Here's an emergency room. Okay, see you later.
Was he cool?
Yeah.
Was he like with it, or was he like pissed?
I think he. Oh no, he wasn't pissed. I think he was in a little bit of shock. I mean, the arm. When I say busted,
Like,
I'm
obviously
talking
hanging,
like hanging. Yeah,
Oh,
like
man.
destroyed.
I just can't imagine being that guy. Like, you get hit by a car, first of all. What's going through your head at that point? But then to get up and realize, oh, my arm is hanging, like it obviously shouldn't be this way.
Yep.
I just earned a free Uber. Well, okay. This is this is a
exactly.
free ambulance ride right now.
Yeah, I remember being like impressed with how like still there the kid seemed to. Hey, my arm is broken. I need to go to the hospital.
Well,
I mean, I would have been like, oh, yeah, and no.
My first thought wouldn't have been, this lady just hit a pedestrian. Oh, but he ran into the car. She didn't hit
She
him.
was,
Now,
she pulled out
interestingly
too far
enough-
though, didn't she?
Yeah, well, obviously she did, right?
Yeah.
And of course, as a teenager, we all knew like, oh, that was totally your fault. But when she went home to explain it to her dad, he hit
Oh,
me.
all of a sudden he ran into
Oh
the
yeah,
car.
no, there's
For
no,
sure.
yeah, there's no like, Dad, I totally pulled too far into that intersection, and no, it was this kid came flying out of nowhere, going 100 miles an hour, and just hit my car, and like, yeah, okay,
I just love that his first thought, though, was, okay, well, this person who's obviously a good driver can safely get me to a hospital. I'll just get in the back of her car.
I didn't even think about that.
now see me, if that were to happen to me today, if I were riding that bicycle and a car pulled out like that, and I'd like hit the car and everything, the very first thought in my mind would be like, oh my god, you know what my deductible is?
Oh yeah.
That would be
Any
my
idea?
thought now.
When you said shock, when the kid was in shock, reminded me of when we were in high school. I don't even know if we were in high school or just right out of high school, but Wes had this little shitty blue Jeep. I don't remember what we called it, but I think his dad got it for like $50 when he was driving. And one day I was at work and I just get this weird call from Wes, and I was just like, hey man, how's it going? And he just goes, oh, hey, what's up? I'm in shock. And I was like, oh, what happened? Why? Apparently he was turning and he had just got his tires rotated, but they didn't screw the tire on the back left tire correctly. And so the bolts or the car was so old that the tire just fell off or something. But he flipped his Jeep a couple of times in some intersection in Linden. And he just called me. I was the first person he dialed. Didn't call the cops, you know. People were all asking them questions when I was on the phone with them. But he was just like, hey, I'm in shock, man. Rolled my car. And I was like, like,
Are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay? What can I do for you? And he just goes, no, I'm good. A cop's here. I got to go. And I was like, oh.
That's the end of
See
the
you, man.
conversation. Okay.
So all day, he wouldn't return my text or call. So all day, I thought he was in the hospital or something. I have no
Damn.
idea. Got off work. He was just sitting at my buddy Christian's house. Hey, man, car's in the shop.
That's it.
I was like, the fuck, dude?
That's a huge testament, though, to the kind of friend that you are. That like,
Oh, yeah.
fucking
No doubt.
roll my car. The first thing I have to do is get out and call Russ. Hey, man, I just want to let you know.
That I'm in
update.
shock.
I'm in shock.
I'm in shock. Yep.
Current status: shock.
Shock.
Talk to you later, bro. Click.
Have you ever been in a car that rolled before?
I never have. No.
Okay. I've been in multiple car accidents before. And I know that we had this one on the list. Am I supposed to jump ahead to
Yeah.
it? Or do I need to keep to the agenda?
No. This part we can bounce around. That was a very good segue.
Okay.
You're
You
very-
see, I thought so. Speaking of rolled cars, of all of the car accidents I've ever been in, my absolute favorite one, of course, was with one of my closest friends, Nolan, who I did tell I was going to tell the story on the podcast.
And he was
his-
okay with it.
No, his response was absolutely epic. He stared at me for what felt like about 30 seconds. Now, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning last night, so I couldn't tell if he was asleep,
Yeah.
angry.
Fell asleep with his eyes open.
I'm not quite sure what it was. But then it just led into, I hate you. So, because all of his friends, we think that this is one of the funniest stories ever. And obviously, those that were there. He doesn't think it's so funny, right?
Of course not.
And the reason why he doesn't think it's funny is because this was the 4th car that he had wrecked in high school.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. So now he is one of the most protective, like loving people over his friends ever. And for someone that is just that mindful of everyone around him all the time, he is a crazy aggressive driver and does some like dumb stuff, right? Or at least did at that age, right?
Sure.
I can't say that now.
Because you were how old?
Yeah, we would have been like 17 and 18
Okay,
at this
yeah.
time, right? So we had all graduated maybe, I want to say 5 or 6 months before, you know, you had that year or so before people started, either going on missions, you know, if they were going to, or going into college. You graduate from high school and you get a little bit of time where it's like you kind of maybe just work part-time, but you hang out a lot with your friends, right?
Yeah.
So we were all in that year, and Nolan this was his 4th Bronco 2, one of the small Broncos. And
Those Bronco 2s are classic.
they're so good. And, obviously they're going to roll. I'm pretty sure the wheelbase is like 16 inches
Right?
apart. Okay.
Yeah.
They're made to absolutely just roll like a Lego. So one night we were getting ready to go somewhere, and there was 5 or 6 of us that were pretty good friends. We were all piled into this Bronco 2. And my other really good friend, Scott, had to go to the bank. So this was back before smartphones. You couldn't just download stuff. We didn't have cards. I mean, if you had a bank account, you had to go to the bank and pull cash out and all that crap, right?
That sounds horrible.
Dude, it was awful. It was kind of like how you used to have to go to Blockbuster to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what effort it took to watch a movie when I was in high school? It was awful. It took longer to get to the movie than it did to actually watch the damn movie. It was terrible, right? And yet we thought it was incredible because that was so much better than what our parents had. Ugh, my kids just have no idea. Anyhow, so Scott needed to run to the bank to get some cash to do whatever we were going to do. And I don't even remember where we were going. So at this location where his bank was up in Alpine. And I don't remember the cross streets, but at that time, there was 3 different banks in this parking lot. And it was like maybe 10 minutes to 5. And so obviously the bank is going to close at 5 o'clock. And so Scott says to Nolan, it's the bank up here in this parking lot. So Nolan goes like cruising up there, classic Nolan style, flies into the parking lot, right in front of the bank. And Scott's like, no, the other one. So Nolan, all irritated, puts it in reverse, drives back over to the other one, stops in front of that one. And no, the other one. Now Nolan's pissed off. So he throws it into straight reverse and guns it and is going like 25 miles an hour in reverse in a Bronco 2, and then decides he's going to do a Porsche spin out.
Yeah.
So he like whips the wheel around and we start to spin, but there's like 6 guys in the car. So it gets like halfway over and all of a sudden you just feel the wheels catch and the car goes like kind of half up on 2 wheels. And I remember everything in life going into like slow motion, right?
Bullet time.
And all of a sudden you're like, "Rrrr." No sound. And then someone yells, "Lean!" And we all tried to jump to the opposite side, but it was too late. Grrr, it crashes over, and then we're on the driver's side, right? So my friend Brock, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, is hanging from the, I don't know, what do they call him? I call him a shit handle, right?
Yeah.
So he's hanging from that as though like he's going to fall into the abyss if he lets go. The 2 feet dangling beneath him is he's going to die, right? And so he's kicking Nolan in the face, who's obviously laying down on the ground now. So Nolan is gripping the steering wheel, and all he's doing is going, "No, this isn't happening. No, no," because this is car number 4, right, that he's now wrecked. And my hat flew off when all this happened, and so all I'm doing is, "Where's my hat?" I don't know why.
It's because it was probably because it was a rare hat. And
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. This was my rare hat, and let's be honest, I was probably already balding by that time, and I needed to keep it hidden. So I'm scrounging around looking for my hat, and then I realize that Scott, who we were trying to get to the bank for, had jumped out of the car and run to the bank.
It's gonna close.
Dead serious. Dead serious. Right? So Nolan, of course, is yelling to Brock, "Open the door." And Brock is hanging from the handle, and so he's not opening the door. And he's like, "Brock, open the door." And he's getting more and more mad as Brock is just like hanging on there. So he finally just grabs Brock and shoves him out the door. And then we all crawl out, and Nolan is saying like, "Hurry, push it over. We got to get out of here." And this lady, as we're trying to get out, I forgot, this lady comes running up, and because there's no door accessible to her right where she is, she's yelling, "You're trapped! You're trapped!" And she's panicking, right? The car's not on fire. No one's hurt. I mean, honestly, but she's panicking. "You're trapped!" And then this lady comes running out from the Chinese restaurant that was also in that parking lot. And she goes, "It's okay, I call police. It's okay, I call police." And Nolan's like, "Terrific, thank you. Now I can get a ticket in addition to all of this crap." They did show up and give him a ticket, by the way, which was awesome.
Oh my god.
But yeah, we get out, and Nolan is yelling for everybody, "Push the car over. We need to get out of here as fast as we can." And as we are all struggling to push the car over that just keeps kind of sliding around, here comes Scott walking back, counting his money.
Thumbing through his bills.
Yep, not totally oblivious to just like, "So guys, are we still going?" Like, just, it was amazing. Yeah, Scott was one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. He was our valedictorian. He ended up going to BYU. I don't know what they call it there, but he was like their level of valedictorian there. He graduated with perfect grades at UNC, all through his dental program. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. But because he's so academically intelligent, some of the like basic social skill stuff could get away from him every once in a while. And that, to me, every time I see him, I absolutely love the guy. But every time I see him, I can just see him walking back to us oblivious as he's thumbing through his dollars. So we finally get the car back up. Nolan gets his ticket. He drives it back home because it's still drivable. It's just we're all tilting.
Yeah, just a little bit lenient.
driving. So he puts a note on his car, and it just says, "Dad, sorry. Call me when it's safe to come home." And that was it. And I still to this day love to tell that story and talk to Nolan about it, and he still doesn't think it's funny.
That's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
The
I
lean.
love that story.
Yeah.
I want to know what was so important to Scott that he had to get to the bank. Like, to the point where
So-
the rolling was oblivious.
No, I can tell you exactly what it is. I know. So Scott is just such a task-oriented person that it was like, we were coming here to go to the bank. I'm going to go to the bank.
That's my wife.
Yeah,
Yep. That would have
that's-
been the same thing.
It wouldn't matter. It could have been like a head-on collision, ambulance on the way, and Scott would have been like, "It is on my to-do list. it has to be crossed off, right? That's part of the reason why he's such a successful human being.
I was gonna say, in my mind, maybe that was like the point in life. He had to get that money, what if he hadn't have made it to the bank? If he hadn't have made it before they closed, maybe he wouldn't be so successful. That exact
wouldn't have
cash
gone to
just
BYU,
Yep,
man.
That's right.
That was going. It had to go into a specific savings account for college, and he wouldn't have made it.
That is correct.
So
He would be one of the homeless people living in Los Angeles with the other 27 other, million homeless people there, instead of being a successful dentist. Yeah.
it was
what that
that
would be.
moment.
So Nolan, if you're listening, your sacrifice was worth it.
Is he a listener?
He said that he heard a couple episodes, but I'm going to go ahead and say that he's lying, because you don't ever say, "Oh yeah, I've heard a couple."
Yeah.
Right?
Out of the two we have.
It's like Jesse. We had him on last time. He's like, "Oh yeah, I listen all the time." Got none of the references to previous episode.
there it is.
Dude, that was last episode. What are you doing?
There it is. I'll tell you, the people that I work with, though, that listen, they'll say, "Okay, so on episode 5," and then I'll have to say, "Do you mean 4?" And they'll go, "No, 5. It was the 5th one." And I'll have to go, "Yeah, I know. Episode 1 was actually episode 0. Why did you do that to us? Why did you do it to us?"
I'm a person who hates that kind of shit, and I
And then
don't
here
know
you
what...
turn it around on. Oh,
I had like this. It sounded really good in my head. It's like, we're gonna start on episode 0. There's gonna be no boundaries. We can call it 0. But now every time I'm numbering the episodes each month, I'm like, okay,
You have to
we're
go
in the
back.
9th month, but this is the 8th episode,
Right.
and it throws me off every
You're
time.
one off.
I
Yeah.
about mislabeled our. I don't know why I did that to myself. But you know what?
All right,
we're
well,
sticking with it.
if it
So-
makes you feel any better, there's a whole gaggle of people out there that are equally annoyed. So
Well, on season 2, I'm going to start with, I'm starting with -3. Episode -3, and then we'll go to -2B, 2A.
Oh shit.
So, did you have, I have somewhere I want to go now with these stories, but did you have any other pranks?
Oh no, I was just an asshole growing up, so all the stuff that I had written down was from the dumb shit that I did, mostly to the janitors in high school.
Wait, what?
oh,
the
you
janitors?
serious?
Well, like
Life isn't difficult enough
I know.
already.
See, now that I'm older and I think about it, I don't even like thinking about it or talking.
Oh
about
yeah,
it
it makes you feel bad.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
But we were those dumbass kids that would go to the lunchroom, when they always give you like little fruit cups in a ramekin, and a little plastic ramekin with a lid on it, and so we would take those and we would super glue them to people's lockers. And so when
Oh
they'd
my
go to try and
God.
take it off, just the cap would pop off, and the fucking peaches would go all over.
Oh,
That's terrible.
that is awful.
Yeah, see, it's funny. But it's not funny.
We do those pranks a little closer to the mic, though.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Thank you. You're good.
So that's the kind of stuff we do, or we'd take a single lined piece of paper and super glue the back of it and then put it on the floor and then watch, hundreds of kids walk up and try to pick it up, but they'd only get a little bit, and it would leave more paper residue like on the ground that they can't pick up.
That's
like,
awful.
But like we'd come back the next day and it'd be gone. The janitors really kicked ass there.
Oh
man.
yeah. Those floor polishers, they do their job.
Oh.
You need to take a lesson from Adam Sandler and give someone a call and be like, "Hey, I did some really stupid crap. I'm sorry about that,"
I think
and
about
hope
it
that
all
he's
the
going to
time.
cross your name off the to kill list.
Yeah, seriously.
I think about it all the time. Like they were redoing the building and redoing the ceilings, but they had that I don't even know what it's called. It looks like white shitty
Foam board?
cardboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were redoing that, and so they were gonna destroy it and take it down anyway. And so we thought we'd help them speed it up a little bit. We would take those super bouncy balls that were like the size of your fist, and we'd throw it at the ground as hard as we could, so it would hit the ceiling and leave like a golf ball, like a fist-sized hole.
Or knock the whole panel down.
Yeah, something like that. And,
Let's be honest. They weren't going to replace those until there were fucking fist-sized holes in the
right.
panels.
If you had to look at their construction plans, that was the one thing they were going to try to save.
Yeah, probably.
These panels are reusable.
We were such assholes. Or like we'd steal kids' shoes from gym class and we'd tie the shoelace to like exit signs. We just did dumb shit. We were just assholes, man. Or we were skating back in the day. And we'd be skateboarding a bunch and we'd be skating up and down the hallway. Like we were just dicks. Yeah. I hate
Did you ever
talking
go to
about it.
class?
Yeah. I actually had perfect attendance for like 3 years straight.
Nice.
I was a teacher's pet though, because I go in there, what's up, Miss Mulligan? I don't even think I had a Miss Mulligan, but hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
give
the
her a high
golf
five.
instructor. I remember her.
And then I'd be like, you want some Gandolfos? And then we'd leave and go get her food.
But you were there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Freaking Jesse's mom at our school, every time I would go to ditch class, she would catch me all the time. Where are you going? Nope. I'm going to get you Diet Coke. The hell you are? I have one. Get your ass to class. I could have slept so much more if it wasn't for Jesse's mom.
You know, so it's funny that you said the term slough is a total Utah thing.
Is it?
It absolutely is, and I did not know that. So when we moved to California, Julie has nieces and nephews that were high school age in the first couple of years that we were there, and they would not refer to it as that. But apparently, slough is a drug term, right? So
it is?
in California, or was at least that for their high school years. This is maybe 5-6 years ago. And so we were at one of their graduations, and I was joking about like they will have the senior, they call it senior skip day. So to them, what we would refer to as sloughing is skipping, right? So I kept saying to them like, "Oh, you guys going to slough today? You going to slough today?" Apparently, I was asking if they were going to go and like shoot heroin. Right? I didn't have any idea. And I kept wondering why people were looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "You're ditching class like your last day of senior year. Does anybody care?" Like, honestly. And they're looking at me like I'm a terrible person, you know?
That gives a whole new meaning to senior slough days. Every
does,
day.
huh?
Every day was senior slough day for Steven.
Yeah. So when they say like I sloughed today, you sure did.
Yeah, you did.
I was so sloughed up, dude.
I'm going to go get so sloughed at that party tonight. Going back to the childhood mischief and pranks, you said canal stuff kind of triggered some memories there.
Yeah.
What kind of canal stuff?
Well, so for those of you who don't know, a canal was like a little, what the fuck was it? Some waterway for...
Well, are you defining the word canal for people? Is that what we're doing right now?
So Webster's Dictionary defines canal as...
What?
I said Webster's Dictionary and just showed my age there. The majority of people are like, "What the hell is Webster's Dictionary?" You mean dictionary.com? Even that's probably an aged reference.
For canal stuff, what we would do, mostly Steven would do all this, but I would just take after Steven. We'd have like shopping carts that we would take home and spray paint and make look all cool. But once we'd had our fun with them, we would just push them into the canal.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the community garbage can.
Because that was the fun stuff to do. We would push, shopping carts, little three-wheelers that kids in the neighborhood would use, and we would get on them and break them. She'd be like, "I gotta hide the evidence," right into the canal.
There it is.
Right next to the shopping cart. One of the stories that just popped into my head, I was on the canal with you back in the day. And, oh man, you must have been...
You just incriminated Steven. Why you got to pull me into this?
You must have been in your teens, and I was a little bit younger than that, but there was a duck, and I feel so bad.
No, not the duck story.
Yeah, dude, I think about it like almost weekly. Anytime I see a duck,
now there's those quack duck car wash places everywhere around here too. You probably get to
you can't escape it.
Yeah.
But Jamie was like, "I bet you can't hit that duck with a rock." Like, we were kids, and I was like, "For shit, I can." I was at my first throw.
Here's the thing. Hold up. Let's pause for a minute. In my defense, you were a terrible throw. And the ducks were excellent at dodging any projectile.
Yeah.
They were very, very
Anything.
skittish ducks.
Yeah.
Never would these ducks ever... Nothing. Could never hit the ducks.
You didn't intend to murder anything that day.
Right.
I don't know if we put some wager on it, but I just remember you saying, "I bet you can't hit it." And I bet I could. I bent down, picked up the perfect hand-sized rock, and I was like, "Oh, smooth. This one feels damn good." I arched back, I hucked it. To this day,
I just remember it sinking and us waiting for it to come back, and it never did.
oh shit!
That was definitely a turning point for me.
Do you believe in life after death?
Yeah.
Because when you die, you're gonna open your eyes, the darkness, and you're just gonna hear
quack,
and it's waiting right there for you.
To this day, I feel so bad. That canal. Too many sad memories.
I am overly kind to animals now because of it.
Because of the duck.
Yep. Had to make up for that. There was no way you were going to hit that fucking duck.
Yeah.
It was like 40 yards away.
Yeah.
I have no clue how you hurled a rock that
There is
far.
Okay, so I'll bet the yardage gets longer and longer as you get older in the memory. It was probably 3 feet away, and yet you remember it. It was okay. So it was 3/4 of a mile away. Russell with his laser vision. Yeah.
I don't know how against all odds you hit that duck.
I don't know either. The noise it made, I can't get out of my head though.
Splash.
It was when I hit it,
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was something like Jamie's gum popping.
I'm sorry, Doug.
Oh, that's awful.
Officially. I've never said it.
Those canals used to be all over the place, right? Because back before everything was mowed over for commercial and residential housing.
Yeah,
around
they're
here.
all,
Yeah.
they're all covered
was-
now.
Yeah, there was actually like ag here, so there was a lot of like apple trees and stuff. We used to. There was one in our old neighborhood that I grew up in that was empty most of the time. It rarely ever had water in it, and so we would use it to like skateboard in and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then the property owner and whoever was supposed to take care of it. Now as an adult, I know it's like an irrigation district and have directors and blah, blah. But at that time, I was like, that's some guy that keeps yelling at me. But there was a bunch of like acorns in one time. And we thought that it would be really funny to like hide in cars as they drove by. So like jump up and throw acorns at them. Right? We just thought that would be really funny. So, okay, here comes a car. And we'd stand up and like chuck it and you'd hear it hit the car. We'd like dip back down. The car would kind of stop and look around like, what just happened? And then keep driving until about the fourth car. We hit a car like square on its passenger side door, and who I'm pretty sure was like Usain Bolt jumped out of that car. And without even touching the 8-foot fence that separated the canal from the roadway, this dude like leaped it in one bound and tackled all three of us that were there.
Dang.
Yeah, and to this day, I remember like the rage in that guy's face and everything, and I was scared to death. And then a lot more scared when he drugged me home and I had to talk to my dad about what I had just done. And I was, because my parents obviously were going to have to pay the damage to the guy's car, right? You never think of that crap. when
No,
you're
as a
younger.
kid, you don't.
Never crosses your mind.
Absolutely not.
Now that we've been telling all these stories of us terrorizing the neighborhood, people started. I never thought people from the actual neighborhood would eventually listen to the show, but they have, and they've started coming out of the woodworks to tell us these stories
Oh,
about.
no.
stuff
I
where
didn't
we've
think about that.
terrorized. I know, but
So there's several cars that were like, I got hit by an acorn
was
back in the
me.
90s. And
I
now
knew
I know
it.
who to go after.
right.
I just hope and pray that the statute of limitations has exhausted already.
I hope so, because I'm about to tell another story myself. So speaking of the canal, we had our neighbors that were across the street from us. Their backyard, their backyard, the fence line was against the canal there, and I don't know what we were trying to accomplish, but we decided we were gonna. That's what it was. We were gonna fish out of the canals. We want to catch some fish, as if there's fish in this canal.
I did see a dead one once. I don't know
Yeah,
if
you
somebody
probably
hucked it in.
you probably threw a rock at it.
I was going to say, you killed it.
So there was this rope, and we kept throwing this rope in. We were taking like a hanger and making a hook out of it, as if there's some fucking monster 12-foot fish in there, like we're Jeremy Wade gonna pull up just this river monster out of the canal. But we weren't catching anything. So Steven saw a trash can. I love that he's not here because I'm gonna keep fucking blaming him for everything.
That's right. Yeah.
He saw a trash
Steven
can.
had
that-
this idea.
yeah, belonged to the neighbors, and we were like, well, if there's like, we'll cast it out there like it's a net, and so we'll tie the rope to it, tie the rope to the trash can, tie the other end of the rope to the fence, and we take this giant, like it's a massive trash can,
Yeah.
big, I don't know. What's a gallonage
Like
of trash
50 gallon
cans?
or something,
Yeah,
probably,
it
yeah.
was huge. So the two of us, we pushed this thing over into the canal, and that's when I realized just how strong the current of the canal is, because it starts, pulling against that rope, and then the chain link fence starts like kind of leaning in. And I was like, we gotta pull this back in. So we're trying to pull it. And
Did you
it's
yell,
not-
lean?
lean. This thing's gonna pull the whole fence down, and it's just yanking on this fence and pulling so hard, and I couldn't move that not 1 inch. So I have no idea. That was when we were done. Okay, done playing in the neighbor's backyard. Let's go home quickly.
Run
Let's
away.
go.
That's right.
I have no idea how they got that out, or if they got it out. They probably just cut it and let it float.
City of
Is that
Linden
why their
Public
fence-
Works was...
Is that why their fence was rolled for like the next 4 years, 5 years? It looked like half of it was brand new, half of it wasn't, and it was just rolled and stopped there.
The
I'll
last
bet
thing
that's
I'm going
exactly
to
what
do
it
is
was.
take credit for that. So no, that's not why. That was another reason, I'm
It
sure.
must just be coincidence.
So,
We terrorized.
yep.
Ah.
Sorry about that, neighbors.
Yep. We all just did stupid stuff.
All right. Did you have any, Russ? Did you have any? We're hitting that time mark where we're needing to wrap up.
No. Nope.
No?
It was like,
None.
I was waiting for something, this big breath.
No.
I got nothing.
Just to build up.
So, I know this isn't on our agenda,
Yeah.
but one of my favorite things in my life is something that I lovingly refer to as Judaisms, right?
These are everybody's favorite things
Oh,
in life.
yes.
So I have an absolutely adorable wife who is like so far out of my league, it's ridiculous. But she has this, what I think is an adorable ability to combine several words or to make a reference to something that is totally off when she meant something else, right? Of course, when you came to California and we'd picked you up at San Francisco and
That's
we're driving
the
back
ultimate.
to Fresno, that's still one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, so you picked me up from the San Francisco airport, and we're driving back, and it's pretty late at night. So we're looking out at the bay, and she says, if it might be hard to see, but if you look out there, you can see the Statue of Liberty. And I remember your face. You were like, And so you just kind of turned over and you said, yeah, if you have really good vision, maybe you can see all the way around to New York. But and she was like, what? Do you mean Alcatraz?
Like, could anything represent the more opposite of the Statue of Liberty?
Give us your weary, your prisoners.
In the shadow of the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, we like to have a lot of fun here on No Time Like Bro Time, but something that's really important is we tell these stories so that we learn. You know what?
Cut.
I'm not going to redo it. We're going to keep it. I'm not embarrassed. I'm still going through puberty. But it's important to talk about what we learned from this episode. So why don't we take a moment and talk about what we learned from today's episode? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. You
Well,
should.
I learned don't ever ask Russell to throw anything at anything else because in the moment he'll hit it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And if you're ever in shock, give him a call because he'll talk you out of that.
Rob can go next.
All right. I think what I learned, or maybe I should say was completely validated for me now, was it really is all Kurt's fault, right? I mean, I didn't know that the rear end sign was actually Kurt's brainchild. And how many times in the car have we laughed about that sign and Kurt never said, that was my idea.
Yeah.
He let Steven take all the credit. Well,
or the
what
fault.
I would assume is credit, but now is no. He, I can't be attached to that. So yeah, what I learned from today's episode was
Blame Steven.
Kurt, blame Steven, blame Steven, and Kurt is a mad genius.
Yep, he really is.
Yeah.
Russ, what'd you learn?
I learned I have a few janitors to follow up with and apologize. Give them my deepest apologies for any pain that I have caused.
I think
Past or present.
I think it's only fair if they come to your house and they get to glue a bunch of shit to your floor.
Oh, that's totally fair.
But that's fine. That is a good trade. That is a
Yep.
good trade.
You reach out and say you're sorry, and the next thing you know, you're getting an Amazon package with 150 of those fruit cups in it,
All super glued, so I can't even open them.
super glued together.
I was also tied between I learned it's really important that if you have to get to the bank, you do whatever it takes to get there before they close. We learned a lot of good stuff today. All right, Russ, give us that social media shout out that does us so well.
Sure. So if you do social media thing, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just by searching for No Time Like Bro Time or NTLBT.
Rob, what did you like today's podcast?
I did, Jamie, and thank you for asking. And if you also like today's podcast, please give us a rating. Go ahead and smash that like button and verbally abuse your subscribe button.
That was really good. That's a good radio voice.
There
right
you go.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you like the show, go ahead and give us a rating. If you haven't already, it really helps wherever you listen. If you didn't like it, give it a rating too. Whatever, I'll take 1 star. I don't give a shit.
1 star's better than 0
That's
stars.
true. Any rating helps, I guess. Maybe people are out there looking for bad podcasts. What do I know? But I did want to give a huge thanks to, of course, as always, the Patreon subscribers. We do have a Patreon. If you want to go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon, we always welcome that because we've officially reached enough subscribers and enough funding that we can now pay for the hosting of the podcast for season 2. So that's definitely going to
Sweet.
happen. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can't laugh when I'm doing the
sorry.
outro.
Oh,
Damn it.
Redo.
All right. Well, we hope you I knew it was coming. Oh, well, despite the interruptions, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, I'm Mom's favorite.
And since Steven's still gone, I'm Dad's favorite.
And I'm Kurt's minion.
Don't do a nasty.
Be a good boy.
With love from the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.